won't be turned around. And I'll keep this world from dragging me down. Gonna stand my ground, and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I stand my ground, and I won't back down. Till I know what's right. I got just one life in a world that keeps on pushing me around. But I'll stand my ground, and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I stand my ground, and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I won't back down, and I won't back down. No, I won't back down.
Woo! Yeah! Our Free Spirit Band. Gather the Spirit, harvest the power. Our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour. Our trials in this light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind. Seeds for the sowing are laid in store, nurtured in love and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. As Unitarian Universalists, we believe truth is larger than any one book or way. Religion and science can go hand in hand. Integrity requires freedom of conscience. Diversity is something to celebrate. In the struggle for justice, we come alive. Our highest aspiration and calling is love. Gather the Spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun. winter to spring, and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion, and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever path you are on, you are welcome here.
Let this moment of lighting our chalice remind us of all the flames that didn't die. Despite ignorance, hurtfulness, and despair, let this light be a light shining in the darkness, and the darkness shall not overcome it.
Well, hello, West Shore. How are you doing on this Sunday? Best place to be on a Sunday morning, isn't it? In Cleveland. So glad you are all here this morning. So we have so much good that's going on at this church. Check out the West Shore Weekly in your order of service, just all the ways in which you can get plugged in, connected, make friendships, build friendships, learn all sorts of good things, grow. Mind, heart, body. Oh my gosh, check it out. I do want to emphasize a couple things coming up. One is the special collection for Trans Ohio. It is happening all month long. Now, you want to know that prior to the election, this organization that helps trans folks with legal, financial, and other support services, it received 30 to 40 applications per month for identity documents, including birth certificates, driver's licenses, passports, and so on, which can total several hundreds of dollars per applicant. Well, since the election, applications have increased tenfold. Does that make sense? Tenfold. And Trans-Ohio doesn't have access to the sorts of funds to meet this increased need. So we can step up here in this congregation. Our Queers and Allies group is accepting donations for this important work. Look for the Q&A table every Sunday this month, throughout this month in the Rotunda. So check that out. Think about that. Something else I want you to be aware of. Did you know that there is an untold story about the impact of nuclear weapons testing on the Hispanic and Native American communities in rural New Mexico? Did you know that? Right? We have a documentary that we are showing on Saturday, December 14th. Our wonderful West Shore Film Series is proud to screen this. The documentary is entitled Downwind. Now, one of the things so wonderful about this film series is they invite folks to come in, directors, for example, to speak about their films. And the director of Downwind, Mark Shapiro, he is flying in from Oregon to be here to speak after the film. So what an opportunity to meet this fascinating man and to learn more about this troubling and important episode in American history, which is still unfolding. So check this thing out. Both of those items are in the back. All right, more about them is in the back of your West Shore Weekly. And then on the front, something else I want you to be aware of is our giving tree. Our giving tree is an annual opportunity for people to purchase gifts for children in need. And this year, West Shore is making sure that Santa is going to be coming for 25 children, right? Santa's coming for them. But we need 16 more people to step up to help make sure that happens. So if this feels good for you, stop by the table in the Rotunda to find out more and to sign up. Now let me ask, if you are here just for the first or second time and you do not mind people knowing about it, raise your hand. Love on these folks. We're so glad you guys are here this morning. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, and by the way, has anybody noticed this? A little bit different. What does that look like? It's a what? Maybe that has something to do with the sermon message this morning. I don't know, maybe. You'll see. All right, folks, we're going to go into our greeting time here in a moment. Children and youth will go off to their RE classes. The rest of us, let's just enjoy this, love on each other, greet each other. Let's do it right now. Here we go. We come to this good morning, remembering the journey of freedom. The land we are on was once another's. We mourn the legacies of oppression. Healing is our way forward. Joy is the birthright of all.
Good morning. My name is Kathy Strauser, and together with Business Administrator Debbie Elliott, we co-lead the Caring and Community Council, one of the 5 councils that oversees and supports programming at West Shore. Each month, a different council's group representatives select the recipient of the outreach offering. The recipient is a nonprofit that shares our Unitarian Universalist values. Our recipient for this month's outreach offering is Planned Parenthood of Greater Ohio. Today with me is Olivia Rohde, Planned Parenthood's Donor Stewardship Officer. Please welcome her.
Good morning. So, as Kathy mentioned, my name is Olivia Rohde. I work with Planned Parenthood of Greater Ohio in the donor stewardship role. I've been with the organization for about a month and a half now, so still new, so bear with me. But thank you so much for inviting me to speak today and for dedicating this offering to PPGO. our abbreviation. It's a mouthful. So I just wanted to give everyone a little background information about the Planned Parenthood Health Center that we have located in Rocky River. We're in the neighborhood, so if you ever need services, it's a great place to stop by. So it's located on Center Ridge Road, and in 2024, the center served about 3,500 patients. Because PPGO focuses on compassionate and affordable high-quality health care for all, regardless of income, insurance status, we provide a bunch of services. We do a big focus on birth control, whether it's the pill, long-acting reversible contraceptives like your IUDs. We also do STI testing as well as treatment. One of the areas that has been growing very quickly with us is gender-affirming care, which we're able to do a lot of times through telehealth services. So people even outside the state who might have more restrictions are able to still get the help that they need. And then we do the basic stuff: wellness exams, blood tests, vaccines, all of those things. The center in Rocky River specifically, about 73% of the patients that we see are between the ages of 18 and 34, and only about 23% of them have an active health insurance. So we want to make sure that we're serving the community and making sure that there isn't that extra barrier to being able to get health care, especially when they deserve it. Other than that, it costs about $1.1 million for us to operate in Rocky River, and a lot of that funding comes from people who are generous in making donations. But today specifically, donations are going to be going towards our annual fund, which is our unrestricted pool of money that really focuses on the areas of greatest need, depending on what the organization thinks is the most important thing right now. So whether it's testing or just making sure that everyone has the support that they need. But yeah, thank you so much for inviting me to speak today. And yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Olivia will be in the rotunda after today's service to meet you and to answer any questions that you may have. Our morning offering will now be given and gratefully received.
Sunday morning, I heard the preacher say, "Thou shalt not kill." I don't wanna hear nothing else about killing, that it's God's will. 'Cause our children are watching us, they put their trust in us, they're gonna be like us. Learn from our history and do it differently.
I hope,
For more love, more joy and laughter,
I hope,
we'll have more than we'll ever need.
I hope,
We'll have more happy ever after.
I hope,
We can all live more fearlessly, and we can lose all the shame and misery.
I hope, I hope.
Oh, Rosie, her man, he gets too rough. All she can say is he's a good man. He don't mean no harm. He was just brought up that way. But our children are watching us. They put their trust in us. They're gonna be like us. It's okay for us to disagree. We can work it out lovingly. I hope for more love, more joy and laughter.
I hope,
There must be a way to change what's going on. Oh, I don't have all the answers. No, no. But
And I hope,
for more love, more joy and laughter.
and I hope,
You'll have more than you'll ever need.
and I hope,
We'll have more happy ever afters.
and I hope,
We can all live more fearlessly, and we can lose all the pain and the misery. I hope, and we can lose all the pain and the misery.
I hope, I hope, I hope.
Good morning. Today's reading comes from the book Act of Hope by Joanna Macy and Chris Johnstone. One way we can empower ourselves is by drawing on the strengths of others. A wonderful example of this can be found in T.H. White's The Sword in the Stone, when he tells the story of King Arthur as a boy being tutored by Merlin. The wizard Merlin, as Arthur's tutor, schooled the boy in wisdom by turning him into various creatures and had him live for brief periods of time as a falcon, an ant, a wild goose, a badger, a carp in the castle moat, and so on. The time came when the new king of all England was to be chosen, and it would be he who could draw the sword from the stone. All the famous knights who came to the great tournament went to the churchyard where the stone mysteriously stood and tried mightily to yank out the sword that was embedded in the stone up to the hilt. Heaving and sweating, they competed to prove their superior strength. But no deal. Tug and curse as they might, the sword did not budge. When the disgruntled knights departed to return to their jousting, Arthur, who was just a teenager then, lingered behind and went up to the stone to try his luck. Grasping the sword's handle, he pulled with all his strength until he was exhausted and drenched. The sword remained immobile. Glancing around, he saw in the shrubbery surrounding the churchyard the forms of those with whom he had lived and learned. There they were, badger, falcon, ant, and the others. As he greeted them with his eyes, he opened again to the powers he had experienced in each of them: the industry, the cunning, the quick boldness, the perseverance. Knowing they were with him, he turned back to the stone, and breathing easy, he drew forth from it the sword, as smooth as a knife from butter. When we draw on the sense of fellowship, belonging, and connection, it is as if we are remembering our root system. This is power with, which comes from the larger circle that we can draw on and which acts through us. Here ends today's reading.
Let us now observe our beautiful community ritual of for all that is our lives. all of ourselves this morning to this space, all of ourselves, all that is on our hearts, all the joys and sorrows and concerns. So much unspoken, some of them spoken on these cards. I'm going to take them into my meditations this week and pray for all that is our life.
You're not alone, together we stand. I'll be by your side, you know I'll take your hand. And when it gets cold, it feels like the end. There's no place to go, you know I won't give in. No, I won't give in. Keep holding on, 'cause you know we'll make it through, we'll make it through. Just stay strong, 'cause you know I'm here for you, I'm here for you. There's nothing you can say, nothing you can do. There's no other way when it comes to the truth. So keep holding on, 'cause you know we'll make it through, we'll make it through. So far away, wish you were here. Before it's too late, this could all disappear. Before the jaws and lows come to an end, you by my side, I'll fight and defend. I'll fight and defend. Yeah, yeah, keep holding on, 'cause you know we'll make it through, we'll make it through. Just stay strong, 'cause you know I'm here for you, I'm here for you. There's nothing you can say, there's nothing you can do. There's no other way when it comes to the truth. So keep holding on, 'cause you know we'll make it through, we'll make it through. Hear me when I say I believe nothing's gonna change destiny. Whatever's meant to be will work out perfectly. Keep holding on, 'cause you know we'll make it through, we'll make it through. Just stay strong, 'cause you know I'm here for you, I'm here for you. There's nothing you can say, nothing you can do. There's no other way when it comes to the truth. So keep holding on, 'cause you know we'll make it through, we'll make it through. Keep holding on.
So we are in that time of year when some of the most primal elements of existence are uppermost in mind: light and darkness, radiance and gloom. These are the days when people in the Northern Hemisphere experience the nights growing longer and longer, with less and less light to cheer us. By 5 p.m., incredibly, it's dark, right? The lack of light can wear you down to your very cells, as vitamin D deficiency proves. Things can feel gloomy as the longest night of the year approaches, the winter solstice. And it's not a new thing. Gloomy. It's not a new thing. Anxiety about this was ever present in the hearts of the ancients. Our ancestors framed it in a hugely dramatic way. Would the longest night move so fast that, like a bird of prey, it would sweep in, snatch up the sun, swallow it, and leave nothing behind but endless, endless night? Or would the light ultimately triumph? Would the light return? This drama was projected onto the very physics of our universe. Good versus evil, everything at stake. Today we know that it's not literally true. The increasing dark is only a matter of the North Pole reaching its maximum tilt away from the sun. Yet there remains the poetry of it, which ancient holidays and holy days around the world evoke. There is Diwali, for one, the Hindu festival of lights occurring between mid-September and mid-November, meant to symbolize the spiritual victory of Dharma over adharma, knowledge over ignorance. Jews light Hanukkah candles, symbolizing the miracle light of freedom which triumphs over oppression. Christians light Advent candles of hope, peace, joy, and love on the way to the incarnation of God through the birth of the baby Jesus at Christmas time. And then there is Yule, originating among the Norse thousands of years ago with its themes of light, fire, and feasting, even as the harsh climate of Northern Europe threatened to devour the people. These are just some of the ancient festivals expressing human anxiety and creativity in the face of the primal elements of existence: light, dark, and the dynamism between the two. The increasing night which threatens to overwhelm and consume all radiance and joy. Yet it only goes so far. It never transgresses the limit. Ultimately, the light triumphs every year. Now, this sermon is the fourth installation of our year-long sermon series focused on the book Active Hope by Joanna Macy and Chris Johnstone. And as I was thinking things over, I had an aha moment. I saw how, when they speak of the business as usual trance that people these days get lost in, that is, until something triggers a despairing awareness of how so much seems to be unraveling, I saw how this is a whole lot like darkness and gloom. This oscillation between these two stories, business as usual and the great unraveling, is indeed a gloomy place to be. Business as usual is when we're just going about our daily lives and things seem fine because what's right before our eyes seems fine. In such a moment, if someone were to ask us, what's the state of our world? Well, we'd likely put the problemometer dial between 0 and 4. See that? But the great unraveling is when we're reminded once again of the worsening climate crisis, the threat of war and the cost of warfare, the pollution and destruction of the natural world, the widening of extreme inequality, the way trans folks are being targeted, the way immigrants are being targeted, the dismantling of democracy, the widespread misinformation and lies blocking awareness of what is really going on, and on and on. We are reminded that all of this is happening. It's all real. And a business as usual mode of living, with all its complacency, only makes us complicit, a part of the problem. And then, of course, there's the 77 million Americans who voted to empower Donald Trump to bring all of what he stands for, to the highest office in our nation. Those 77 million people may be cheering right now, but those cheers are met by groans and cries of the almost 75 million who voted differently. Having acknowledged all this, where would you put the problemometer dial? How many of you would put it at 7? How many of you would put it at 9? How about 10? How about 11? Kind of do a spinal tap thing, right? Spinal tap. 11. Darkness and gloom. Darkness and gloom. It's not so very different after all from the ancient fears that the longest night is coming to snatch up the sun and to swallow it and leave nothing behind but endless, endless night. Which is why the question of active hope is so critical in our times. A hope that is not so much about the way the world is or will be, as it is about the way our hearts and minds are and what our desire calls us to. Active hope liberates us from the complacency of business as usual, as well as from the disempowerment and despair of the great unraveling. It liberates us from both of those so we can find our part to play in the far better story of the great turning, to find our part and to play it. But we must know that a significant part of this work focuses on ourselves, how we see ourselves. And this is not so much a matter of having to build something that does not exist, but rather to reveal what is already there. To reveal what is already there. To do the work that reveals who we truly are, because it's been covered up. Rumi, the great poet Rumi, said it for the ages. He said, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all of the barriers within yourself that have been built up against it." I have one tattoo. If I wanted another one, that is what I would tattoo on my back. Or whatever, forehead. This is what the Active Hope readings for today are all about, and what this sermon is all about, revealing a wider sense of self which is already there within us, just waiting to be acknowledged and embraced, which automatically leads to a sense of power, a greater sense of it, helping the light return like this. So consider the wisdom from T.H. White's book, The Sword in the Stone, when he tells the story of King Arthur as a boy being tutored by Merlin. Joanna Macy and Chris Johnstone use this to illustrate the direct link between a wider sense of self and an expansion of power. And as you may know from this popular myth, whoever pulls the sword out of the stone becomes the king of all England, right? Grasping the sword's handle goes part one of this story. Arthur pulled with all of his strength until he was exhausted and drenched. The sword remained immobile. But did he in fact pull with all of his strength? And who was that person? Who was the person pulling? Who was that, truly? Arthur in the story is by no means alone in imagining himself small, yet facing great odds. It is all of us as well. And no wonder. In our real world these days, there are so many forces conspiring to cover up our true selves. Consumer culture, with its marketing mythology, is a big one. Raising awareness of this is tough, though, because we have been immersed in it for so long. It is just like asking the fish to describe water. So Macy and Johnstone share an account that comes from author and filmmaker Helena Norberg Hodge, who directly witnessed the before and after experience of the people living in the mountainous region of Ladakh in northern India. Their experience. Before consumer culture came to them, even though the physical conditions were challenging, with villages cut off by snow for many months each year, the villagers had a rich and satisfying way of life that met their basic needs well. Though the villages Helena Norberg Hodge visited had no electricity, the villagers' highly developed cooperative culture ensured that everyone had enough food, clothes, and shelter. There was hardly any crime, depression was rare, and suicides were virtually unheard of. That was in the mid-1970s. And then comes the after, okay? With huge billboard advertisements in the towns glamorizing the path to material prosperity, many of the younger generation left in search of employment. While some now have motorcycles and digital devices, there have also been suicides, even among school-aged children. Previously, success and failure had largely been shared experiences. Villagers worked together to succeed in tasks like bringing in the harvest. The modern consumer culture, however, has brought in its wake the rat race, which divides people up into winners and losers, with constant pressure to come out on top and to get hold of all the fancy new products they have learned how to want. Now, in America, this before and after happened in the early 19th century. Same result. Selfishness and self-centeredness, it turns out, is not so much the natural state of human beings as it is an adaptation to changing environments. When your environment changes into that of a rat race, guess what happens to you? You become a rat. Amen. You become a rat. Can I hear an amen? Oh, yeah. You become small, identifying yourself with increasingly larger circles of connection, like extended family, chosen communities, city, nation, the global community, and then the earth with all its beings. Well, all that becomes less and less relevant to the day-to-day task of surviving. I want you to look at this advertisement from the 1950s, when marketers were perhaps less subtle and sophisticated. I mean, just let that soak in, okay? This explains in a nutshell why I still do Facebook. Okay, I found this on Facebook. Okay, you soak that in? You got that? To fall for the message of this horrible advertisement, targeting mostly women, right? Is for your sense of self to shrink almost to nothingness, to anxiety and envy about surface appearances and fears of abandonment. And when you are lost in the noise of that, well, A person forgets all the ways they are loved for reasons that are far more reliable and enduring than having a certain tan look to your skin. A person forgets that they have a purpose in life that is far more meaningful than having a certain tan look to their skin. A person forgets. And this forgetfulness is at one and the same time a loss of power. Power shrunk almost to nothingness as well. A rat caught in a rat race. No offense to rats. And you know, it's not just consumer culture that shrinks our sense of self, with all its marketing mythology that shrinks our sense of self. What's happening with education these days is also a factor. I mean, that is a literal rat race up there. But this is going to need its own sermon, so you got to come some other time. So turn with me to yet another force that builds barriers against our true selves. It actually comes from the progressive left. Joanna Macy and Chris Johnstone illustrate this with a quote from ecologist Arnie Naess. He says, "Unhappily, the extensive moralizing within the ecological movement has given the public the false impression that they are being asked to make a sacrifice, to show more responsibility, more concern, and a nicer moral standard. But all of that would flow naturally and easily," he goes on to say, "if the self were widened and deepened, so that the protection of nature was felt and perceived as the protection of our own selves." Arnie Naess, in other words, is calling out progressives in the ecology movement for how they are trying to motivate people's behaviors, motivate change in people's behaviors. Their efforts are doomed to fail because they proceed out of a false vision of who people are, that people are bad. Bad must be made into good. The gap must somehow be crossed. So the ones who are doing the motivating assume a holier-than-thou attitude, and all it does is make people feel even worse about themselves. That, and those same people want to strike back at the ones acting all high and mighty. I mean, this is just not the way forward. You know, Arnie Naess isn't the only one in the ecology movement to call this out. 2 years ago, when we read the amazing book Braiding Sweetgrass together, we heard Robin Wall Kimmerer express great concern about her third-year college students who aimed to enter careers in environmental protection, nearly all of whom saw humans as a poison to the earth and folks who should just simply disappear. Agents of destruction, all things considered, it would be better for them just to disappear. How is it possible, asks Robin Wall Kimmerer, that in 20 years of education, they cannot think of any beneficial relationships between people and the environment? How can we begin to move towards ecological and cultural sustainability, she wonders, if we cannot even imagine what that path looks like or feels like? Speaking out of her Potawatomi Native American heritage, she asks, how do we find the honorable harvest again? How do we make our relations with the world sacred again? How do we consume in a way that does justice to the lives we take? Such questions do indeed imply that we are in a great unraveling time. Absolutely. That the honorable harvest is lost and it must be found again. That people take more than they need and take way beyond what they are given. But her questions also imply the possibility of repentance. They also imply the possibility of repair, restoration, return. And this ultimately depends upon a transformed vision of who people are. Not rats in a rat race that have to be somehow transformed into not being rats, but members in a family of all life. Members who have lost their way, yes, but family members nonetheless. And this family can be restored. It can. The grassy meadows tell us, says Robin Wall Kimmerer, that for sweetgrass, human beings are a part of the system, a vital part. Humans participate in a symbiosis in which sweetgrass provides its fragrant blades to the people, and people, by harvesting, create the conditions for sweetgrass to flourish. This is why she titled her book as she did, Braiding Sweetgrass. Sweetgrass is the symbol of the hope that humanity may rediscover its larger identity, its true self as an earth citizen, and find its way back to its earth family. So don't go for the holier than thou message. Motivation by the stick is not necessary because it's just not reflective of reality. It totally misses the point. From a widened sense of self comes an expanded sense of power. And now we are ready to go back to the Arthur story, which T.H. White tells. You may remember his initial attempt to pull the sword out of the stone. It was an abject failure. But then, glancing around, he saw in the shrubbery surrounding the churchyard the forms of those with whom he had lived and learned. They were there, badger, falcon, ant, and others. As he greeted them with his eyes, he opened again to the powers he had experienced in each of them, the industry, the cunning, the quick boldness, the perseverance. Knowing they were with him, he turned back to that stone, and breathing easy, he drew forth that sword as smooth as a knife from butter. When we draw on a sense of fellowship, belonging, and connection, say Joanna Macy and Chris Johnstone, it is as if we are remembering our root system. Our root system. You have a root system. Did you know that? We are remembering our root system. This is power with, which comes from the larger circle that we can draw on and acts through us. Who is your larger circle? Who are the beings who have taught you and loved you? For what and for whom are you grateful? This is your root system. This is the power that can act through you. When asked how he handles despair, rainforest activist John Seed replied, I try to remember that it's not me, John Seed, trying to protect the rainforest. Rather, I am part of the rainforest protecting itself. I am that part of the rainforest recently emerged into human thinking. Do you see that? May it be so. Amen. You know, the days before us are indeed darkening. Gloom is increasing, not just as the North Pole increases its tilt away from the sun and the light becomes less, but also because of what we are seeing in our world and in America. There is fear in many, many hearts. There's also exhaustion, disillusionment, disappointment. As one of my favorite bloggers, Unitarian Universalist Doug Mooder likes to say, said recently, he said, many articles are being written about how best to resist the incoming Trump administration and its expected assault on democracy and human rights. I had planned, he said, to write a post curating those articles for you, picking out the best ones and summarizing their advice. Unfortunately, I have bookmarked more of them than I have read, and I haven't even given the ones that I've read enough serious thought. That lack of motivation has forced me to admit something about myself. I'm not ready to resist yet. I hope I will be soon. To Doug Mooter and to everyone, this is what I say, which is the last thing I'll say. Let this season of the drama of dark and light itself be a teacher to you. Let all the holidays and holy days of this time drive this point home, even as the darkness descends to the longest night of the year, the winter solstice. That day is the absolute limit. From that point forward, the light will increase, and it will happen by itself. Being busy out of sheer anxiety is useless. The only work you need to do is to watch and to wait. None of us creates the light. The light exists of itself. The light is in you. Love is in you. So watch and wait for the return of light in nature, and watch and wait for the return and renewal of the light within yourself. Watch and wait for the light of opportunities for action, which will show themselves. Some of them have shown them to you in my opening comments, right? Watch and wait for those. Let the timing of things be right. If you are feeling a need to avoid the news, if you are still in process of recovering from disillusionment of the election, take the time you need. You will heal. Healing will happen for you. There is a sword in the stone for every person here. Remember who you fundamentally are. That will give you the power to pull that stone out. The destiny that is yours and only yours, finally, because you have allowed yourself to know who you truly are, your true self. That destiny you will finally be able to claim. Let's sing our closing hymn. I know I can. Out there, take hands, and sister, sing my song. When hope awaits at this day, and let the days and weeks ahead be ones in which you reflect on your root system. For what and for whom are you grateful? What is the love within you and surrounding you which makes you stronger than you know even in this time, which feels so disempowering and disillusioning? Linger in these questions. Let the realizations come. And what will happen, I promise to you, is this. Let's extinguish our chalice together. Say the words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we meet again.